ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, just one thing before I proceed. Prabhupada Pranam Mantra, I hear many devotees pronouncing wrongly. It's not Saraswati Devi. It's not Saraswati Deve. It is Saraswati Deve. So please open, song book wherever online. We should be chanting Prabhupada Pranam Mantra properly, right? So please note that. Okay. The teachings of Queen Kunti, chapter 12, last part. Because Krishna sometimes appears like an ordinary man, people sometimes cannot believe or understand his activities. They wonder, how can God become an ordinary person like us? But although Krishna sometimes plays like an ordinary person, in fact, he is not ordinary. And whenever necessary, he displays the powers of God. When 16,000 girls were kidnapped by the demon Bhaumasura, they prayed to Krishna, and therefore Krishna went to the demon's palace, killed the demon, and delivered all the girls. But according to the strict Vedic system, if an unmarried girl leaves her home even for one night, no one will marry her. Therefore, when Krishna told the girls, "Now you can safely return to your fathers' homes," they replied, "Sir, if we return to the homes of our fathers, what will be our fate? No one will marry us because this man kidnapped us." Bhaumasura. "Then what do you want?" Krishna asked. The girls replied, "We want you to become our husband." And Krishna is so kind that he immediately said yes and accepted them. Now, when Krishna brought the girls back home to his capital city, it is not that each of the 16,000 wives had to wait 16,000 nights to meet Krishna. Rather, Krishna expanded himself into 16,000 forms, constructed 16,000 palaces, and lived in each palace with each wife. Actually, it is described in Bhagavatam that even the marriage, when he marries all the 16,000 100 girls, so the marriage happened simultaneously in different palaces, because obviously there were parents of the girls were different. Right now, then Krishna was present, then Vasudeva Devaki also had to be present. So all of them Krishna expanded, meaning created multiple of themselves, multiple forms, and each of them entered all those palaces and took part in those uh, ceremonies as appropriate. Right, and it is also said Krishna suited his form, I mean, like slightly modified his form to suit the form of the girl, right? Like generally, like boy and girl should match in some way, right? Externally, physical appearance, etc. So Krishna did that also. So Krishna is inconceivable. I mean, in everything he does, how can anybody imitate or do anything like this? Said Kardama Muni expanded himself into 9 forms by his yogic power. But that's all a human being can do. Right? Krishna did 16,100. Now, how can anybody consider him as an ordinary man? No ordinary man has the ability to do this. And he was simultaneously present in all the houses. Narada Muni comes to Dwaraka to see all this. So he was present and doing different activities in different places. right? So it's just inconceivable. I mean, it's not possible. If somebody is sane, is not atheist, right? Even an atheist, if he's open-minded, then he can understand that how can these activities of Krishna, it can't be done by any ordinary man. So then they go to the other extreme. Although this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, rascals cannot understand this. Instead, they criticize Krishna. He was very lusty, they say. He married 16,000 wives. But even if he's lusty, he's unlimitedly lusty. Prabhupada, Prabhupada wants to, like, you have no way, you can't just criticize Krishna. Okay, say if he's lusty, but he's unlimitedly lusty because God is unlimited. So because everything originates from him. So if there is lust in this material world, then it's also there in him. But it is unlimited. Everything is unlimited. So still you cannot consider him as an ordinary person. Why 16,000? He could marry 16 million and still not reach the limits of his perfection. That is Krishna. We cannot accuse Krishna of being lusty or sensuous. No. This is like a angry devotee. An angry devotee saying, what nonsense. Then there is another way of also, for those who want to hear, we can also explain the underlying philosophy of how Krishna reciprocates yatha mam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyam. But if they want to understand, if they don't want to understand, then this is the straightforward approach, saying that what nonsense. Okay, he's lusty, he's unlimitedly lusty. Now show somebody who's unlimited. So because he's unlimitedly lusty, he's God. Everything is unlimited in Krishna. So in different ways of arguing, putting across arguments so that people can understand. There are so many devotees of Krishna, and Krishna shows favor to all of them. Yeah. So this is the yatha mam prapadyante. Some ask Krishna to become their husband, some ask Krishna to become their friend, some ask Krishna to become their son, some ask Krishna to become their playmate. In this way, there are millions and trillions of devotees all over the universe, and Krishna has to satisfy them all. It does not need any help from these devotees, but because they want to serve him in a particular way, the Lord reciprocates. The Lord reciprocates always. The 16,000 devotees wanted Krishna as their husband, and therefore Krishna agreed. Of course, because Krishna reciprocates, we should not go behind him asking material desires. That doesn't please him. But because it's coming from a devotee, mixed devotee, he might still oblige. But Prabhupada says he will never oblige in a way such that the devotee's desires will keep on increasing. That he will not do. He will oblige in such a way that devotee his desire is satisfied and he will not hanker more for those things. Like that he satisfies. That is why there's a difference between worshipping Krishna and worshipping other demigods. Right? So demigods are obliged. And just there are rules. Okay, if somebody does this, this is the outcome. They can't bend it. Right? But Krishna is independent. He always looks at our ultimate benefit, ultimate good. Thus, Krishna may sometimes act like a common man, but as God, he expanded himself into 16,000 forms. He may act like a common man. Like, for example, if you just look at one Krishna in one palace, like it says, those wives were thinking that he's henpecked, meaning he's just running, going behind them, being with them, doing whatever they want, etc. It just looks like an ordinary man. But when you suddenly come out of one palace and see 16,000 palaces and Krishna being present in all of them, suddenly, oh, he cannot be an ordinary man. Then now, what about his ordinary activities that look ordinary? He's just reciprocating the ways of this world, reciprocating the desires of his devotees, etc. Various reasons. So this is what Prabhupada is saying here. Once the great sage Narada went to visit Krishna and his wives. Krishna has married 16,000 wives, he thought. Let me see how he's dealing with them. Then he found Krishna living differently in each of the 16,000 palaces. In one palace, he was talking with his wife. In another, he was playing with his children. In another, he was arranging for the marriage of his sons and daughters. And in this way, he was engaged in varied pastimes in all of the 16,000 palaces. Similarly, in his childhood, Krishna played just like an ordinary child. But when his mother Yashoda wanted him to open his mouth so that he could see whether he had eaten dirt, within his mouth he showed her all the universes. So this is very nice. In childhood, Krishna played like an ordinary child. Actually, there is other acharyas have described beyond the childhood activities which are described in Bhagavatam, which are also so sweet. Krishna holds on to uh, the tail of a cow, of a calf, and the calf starts running, and he's skiing, literally skating on muddy like floor, and then suddenly he trips and falls. And it's like all these are actions of ordinary child. He ate dirt. Children eat dirt. Whatever they see, they want to put it into their mouth. And then there are other very nice pastimes descriptions also. Like many times you will see like children are trying to walk. Right? So they hold on to the fingers of their parents or some elders. And the elders want to entice them to get up. So they're like trying to give their finger and then raising the finger little, so that, hoping to hold on to the finger, the child will get up. So then they try to get up and then thump, they fall again on the ground. So Krishna, his childhood was like this. It so naturally looked like just an ordinary child. And many people who, are very fascinated by children of this material world, they get attracted by Krishna's childhood pastimes. And which is good, because if they get attracted to Krishna's childhood pastimes, no more getting attracted to material things. And so Krishna reciprocates. So if somebody wants, okay, to enjoy, to treat me or serve me as in parental mood, okay, I will reciprocate perfectly. And then, Damodar month is coming, Krishna is crying, there Krishna tears in his eyes. We sing in Damodar Astakam. So in some ways, he plays just like an ordinary being. Prabhupada is saying, although he plays just like an ordinary being, human being, when there is need, he shows his nature as God. So this is, when Krishna lifts Govardhana hill, uh, Krishna is holding on it on his finger, and then Yashoda comes and says, Krishna, what is this? How can you alone hold such a big hill? You will be so tired. Tired. Okay, you eat something. Yashoda is in her motherly love. Mothers are always behind children. Feed something, feed something. No, eat something. But then Krishna is holding, one hand he is playing flute, another hand he's holding Govardhan. Just take out that flute from your lips. Let me feed you something. So she is in her own motherly affection. And then all other, um, we know even today when we go on Govardhan Parikrama, there's one Lauta Baba. So he was like uncles of like elderly Gopa in Vrindavan. So he came and said, "Oh Krishna, how can you hold up Govardhan Hill all alone? Okay, let us also. We will also. You can't do it alone. So we'll also hold it up." So then he puts a stick, to hold up Govardhan. Krishna is seeing, he wants to reciprocate the love, but at the same time, he didn't want any of the Vrajavasis to get too extremely worked up. So he slowly, little bit, few centimeters, millimeters, uh, he moved his finger down. So Govardhan came down by a few centimeters, and then those sticks of all those gopas who had kept their, herding sticks broke. And Krishna said, no, see, don't worry, it's okay. So he was comforting them, he was taking care of them. At the same time, he was, he was doing extraordinary feat. So that is why Krishna's all these pastimes, we have to go into the depths of these pastimes. Actually, it's not like, okay, Krishna will go over the hill, over, end of story. Oh, I've heard of this every year. But there are so many beautiful details, and those details just show how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. And if we don't go into if we are not hearing all these details, we will not understand what is it to love Krishna as a parent, what is it to love Krishna as a friend, what is it to love Krishna as conjugal lover. Mm. Said like it was impossible for um, Krishna and gopis. They never used to be able to see each other. So just openly in front of all elders. Right, because our gopis were all like married and they're with their in-laws and they can't see Parapurusha there, like their gungat and their closing, with their heads down, etc., etc. And every time there's a concern, oh, who's seeing? Who else is seeing? Oh, my mother-in-law has her eyes on me. And they're always like, they have to do chupa chupi, right? Like secretly see Krishna, corner of their eyes, like this. And Krishna said, no. And, now 7 days, no restriction. So everybody, like all the gopis were they're able to see Krishna happily because everybody was there. Like there's no question of not seeing Krishna. So Krishna has his own ways. I mean, he reciprocates, and acharyas reveal these underlying secrets. That is why we have to read, we have to read, we have to read. If we don't read, there is no way we can understand Krishna. And see, whatever I am describing is just to the extent of memory, of my memory. But actually, when we read, there are so many more details. So many more details. So we have to first read Srila Prabhupada's books, like I repeatedly keep saying. Finish Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam at least 3 times. Uh, Once only devotees take life to read. If we are not able to read Bhagavatam, then there's no hope of going back to Krishna. Because I mean, if we have not read about Krishna at all, what mode, how will we increase our love? Of course, even whatever looks like general material sentiments towards Krishna's problem is if it is not based on Shastra, if it is not strong enough, then difficult situations in life we will just fall down. So Shastra Tattva is very, very important. And to understand in Tattvataha, in truth, what Krishna is, what his feelings are, what he likes, what he dislikes, it's not like we'll just pay. Many devotees have this misconception saying that, like Krishna will accept anything and everything. Yeah, Krishna will accept anything and everything. But that is when we reach the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. And in the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, the devotee actually completely loses external consciousness. I mean, he doesn't even know that he has a body, he's there in this material world. I mean, yeah, just mechanically, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, as a devotee, just they're eating, sleeping, evacuating, whatever, bathing, etc. Just mechanical. They have no involvement at all in their material activities. When we reach some stage like that, then Krishna will accept anything we do. But till then, we have to follow Vaidhi Bhakti, we have to follow rules. If Krishna is saying do this, we have to do that. Krishna is saying don't do this, we should not do that. Many times we hear like Matajis who are not supposed to enter the temple, they enter the temple in the name of, oh, I cannot be away without not seeing Krishna. Yeah, but if you are in that state, then how are the rest of your days? I mean, are you materially conscious, not materially conscious? And even those devotees who are at the topmost stage, externally they will still follow Vaidhi rules. Because they don't want to mislead others, right? Because then everybody will take it easy and become sajiyas. So we should follow rules and regulations. But when we reach a stage of life where our bhakti is so advanced that literally we don't have material consciousness at all, and we are mentally, Daganuga bhakti is done in the mind. Mentally we are completely absorbed in our Siddha Swarupa, then all these Krishna will accept anything from such devotees. But we should not artificially just in the name of love just do anything and everything that comes in our mind. It should be authorized. That is why there is Shastra, there is Vidhi, there is Parampara. If this is what most people do, no? Outside ISKCON, most people they just do whatever they feel like and think that is bhakti. But Krishna is not accepting them. If they are sincere, what Krishna will do? Krishna will send them to a parampara. Now we are in the parampara, connected to parampara, and then we are behaving like them, doing whatever comes to our mind. How is it? Doesn't make sense, right? So we should follow. We should follow. We should not just think, oh, I'm so transcendental that I can do anything. And Krishna will accept. Krishna will accept if we are sincere. He will purify us. He will purify us, and eventually we will want to come to a stage where we are going to accept these rules and regulations and do it the way he wants us to do. To give another example, Krishna acted as the chariot driver of Arjuna, but when Arjuna wanted to see Krishna's universal form, Krishna immediately showed him a cosmic form with thousands and millions of heads, legs, arms, and weapons. This is Krishna, right? And when he had to act as the chariot driver of Arjuna, where does the chariot driver sit? Literally near the foot of the warrior. So he was sitting near the foot of Arjuna. I mean, this is Krishna. Mm. So even ordinary, I mean, if you say ordinary people are not so humble, especially if they're qualified, right? They're mostly outside people, non-devotees, they're like pride, egoistic, arrogant. So we can also see qualities in Krishna which are so extraordinary, even if you just look at him like material point of view. But then, every now and then Krishna was saying, no, 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 I am not ordinary. See my universal form. See my universal form. And it was not just that Arjuna saw it and it was in his mind. And it was somebody will say it was just Arjuna's speculation. No, there are other people also in this universe who saw, who are qualified to see. Sanjaya says that, yes, other Sanjaya also saw. He was also a devotee, disciple of Vyasadeva. Then there are also other people in the higher planets who saw Krishna's universal form. It was not some imagination. Of course, then when Arjuna saw Krishna's universal form, finally he said, oh, Baba, bus, both ho gaya. I can't see this. Godless, Prabhupada says, godless display of opulence. God is only displaying his opulence, but Prabhupada says godless display of opulence. Because devotees don't like this. This opulence without sweetness is not appreciated by devotees. They're not like Arjuna says, no, 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 I no, please show me your, what is that word? Very nice word which used. Sudarsham. Sudarsham. Meaning that beautiful form. Show me that beautiful form. And then Krishna shows his four-armed form and then his two-armed form. Why four-armed form, two-hand form? Because to show that, see, I am the original two-handed form. From me, four-handed form comes. From me, this whole universal form also comes. Everything will come. I'm the original. And then when Arjuna sees Krishna's original form, he's like, I'm so happy. So Krishna is inconceivable. But we have to have faith in Shastra. If you don't have faith in Shastra, then all of this is just cock and bull story. Some story somebody is writing. Why would great sages like Shukadev Goswami, Suta Goswami, who are so intelligent, why would they accept if these are just some child's cock and bull stories that somebody has made up? So we should understand. We should not think we are more intelligent than Shukadev Goswami, Suta Goswami, and Narada Muni, and all these great devotees. We are insignificant, and just because of our, blindness, illusion, we just want to decry God. We want to just, not accept Krishna's position. Why? Because then we have to surrender. We don't want to surrender, so we will call Krishna names. We'll pull him down to a lower position so that we don't have to surrender to him. Just unfortunate. That's all. Krishna is completely independent and he has no friends or enemies. But he plays for the benefit of both his friends and enemies. And when he acts for the benefit of either, the result is the same. That is Krishna's absolute nature. Yes, he has no friends and enemies, but this is in the material world. He absolutely has friends. He absolutely has friends. He can't, stay without them. and the beautiful, relationship of these friends. Also, Madhumangal is very dear to Krishna, and he's the joker. He's a Brahmana and he's a joker, and uh, so many nice relations Krishna has, these devotees have with Krishna. Hmm. And they're all like right in the morning, get up and then immediately they run to Krishna's house. Krishna, where are you? They can't like as soon as they wake up, they can't just wait for a moment to be without Krishna. Right? So then they just run and everybody calls, Krishna, come, 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 where are you? Let's go. Because they have to go milk cows in the barn. And Krishna has just come back from his Nishant Leela and he's just come back home and he's like drowsy, he can't open his eyes. Uh, and just like like an ordinary human being. Oh, drowsy, I didn't get enough sleep yesterday, so let me sleep for some more time. Krishna is like, he can't open his eyes, when we are like really, when you just slept or something, lack of sleep and somebody comes and wakes us up, we're trying hard, our eyelids are like sticky and they can't even open our eyes. Krishna is like that, and he opens eyes, closes, opens eyes, closes. Then he's like, he looks, when he opens his eyes, he sees, oh, Yashoda Mata and Purnamasi are there. And then Yashoda Mata, then he comes, Krishna, wake up, all your friends are here. Then she washes his face, helps him open his eyes, and then, etc., etc. So many of the things that he does seem very ordinary, but he's completely independent. And of course, he enjoys the time, the leelas, pastimes with all the inhabitants of Brajabhumi. But when it comes to material world, yeah, he has no friends, no enemies. He's equal to everybody. Mhm. And yeah, in the spiritual world, there are no enemies. Nowhere there are enemies. And they think that they are enemies of Krishna. Krishna doesn't consider anybody as enemies. But in the spiritual world also, there are two descriptions about demons. No demons in the spiritual world, but there are two descriptions given by two different acharyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that it's like it's these demons are like just some abhimana, meaning they're just some thoughts, some just like it's some illusion, like mental concoction here, like we are cooking up some story in our mind and we think that is real. So it's like that in the spiritual world. All think that suddenly there's some demon somewhere, somebody shouts, somebody speaks of some demon somewhere. Really no demon, but just some mental uh, arrangement by Yoga Maya. So it's called Abhimana. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that no. Sometimes, like in a king's palace, generally tigers, lions cannot come, but for the sake of some performance, some circus or something, sometimes they're kept in a cage, and then they're taken away. Right. So like that, he says that no. Sometimes some forms are given just to aid the pastime. So anyway, different acharyas have different views about it, but Krishna doesn't look at anybody as enemies. Just for the sake of pastime, somebody might he might look at them like that, deal with them like that. And of course, he's upset when these demons come and disturb his Brajavasis. He is really upset. I mean, he's not happy with that. That way, he's like, why are you coming and disturbing them? Mm. Um, so yeah, it's inconceivable. I mean, Krishna is inconceivable. Radharani is even more inconceivable. So we have to understand these things. We have to understand these things. It takes time. We have to be patient. We have to have enthusiasm, utsaha, nischaya, dhairya. And I want to highlight this, right? Don't just depend on hearing. Hearing is not going to give you that 100% rasa. That experiencing that whole real, Bhagavatam, Rasamalayam, is when we ourselves involve in reading. Of course, first time, second time, there's no rasa, it's like drudgery. But we have to get past those, first reading, second reading. Then we can experience the rasa in Bhagavatam. Then you would want to read more, want to read it again and again. And so, but that taste for Bhagavatam may get just yesterday, like I sent a message. Narada was hearing in the association of those pure devotees, and then his taste for hearing and chanting increased. So yeah, you will not be able to hear every aspect of Bhagavatam from somebody, right? So then, which means that obviously it requires you to read and hear from Prabhupada through his purports. So that is the ultimate stage, ultimate taste, right? And then we will understand. We'll understand these details. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, comments. Anything? Okay, all are satisfied. Okay, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna, everybody.
हाँ, फिजिकली में थोड़ा बेटर है मेरे हिसाब से। फिजिकली